All right, today we are going to talk about topic sentences and how to use topic sentences for your essay that is coming up. So, most of the time, the topic sentence is the first sentence in each body paragraph. So, you have your introduction, you have at the top, you have your conclusion at the bottom. Everything in the middle is a body paragraph. And so, each one has a topic sentence at the beginning of that paragraph. What that topic sentence does is it introduces the main idea that will be discussed in that paragraph. So when it comes to that idea, for our paper, it is answering the essay with evidence. And so you need to set up that paragraph for a way so that way we as an audience know, oh, okay, this is what this one paragraph is going to be about. Sometimes a paragraph can also introduce the main points and details that will be covered, but you don't have to all the time. And sometimes it's better, actually, to go a little more vague, a little more kind of broad, so that way you can fit a couple more things into that paragraph. So, again, our essay question here is, if Jim represents African Americans in the South during this time, who could Tom Sawyer be representing and who could Huck Finn be representing? So each topic sentence here should have either Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer in it, but not both. Because in the depth that you're hopefully going to be talking about each character can get its own paragraph or two paragraphs or, and you can write enough about that one character where you don't need to combine them into one paragraph. So do a paragraph about Huck, at least one. Do one paragraph about Tom, at least one. And then you can transition from each of those later on. Okay? So each topic sentence should only be about either Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer, not both. Okay? So if I'm going to write about Jim and how Jim could represent African Americans in the South during post-Reconstruction, because I don't want to give you any answers for this essay, each one of my reasons could be a body paragraph. So here's an example topic sentence, okay? In the last 10 chapters, Jim could represent African Americans in the South during post-Reconstruction because of the way he was freed. A couple things to kind of note here is, one, I give this part of probably the essay or the thesis statement if I were to write one. For you guys, it is Tom or Huck could represent blah blah blah. And I also put during post-Reconstruction because a lot of you are forgetting that we're talking about 1877. We're not talking during the Civil War. We're not talking before the Civil War. We're talking about 1877. Okay. And so I say because of the way he was freed. So that could go a couple different ways. And so I need to make sure that my body paragraph stays in this realm. So I would then write about Miss Watson freeing Jim and compare that to the article that we have read. So I would not talk about Tom's treatment of Jim because that could be its own whole paragraph, right? I want to talk about Huck's treatment of Jim because that could be his own paragraph in my essay. So I want to stay focused on Miss Watson. Now, if I wanted to say how Miss Watson freed Jim in that topic sentence over here, I totally could. I made it a little more broad, but if you want to go more into detail to focus on one particular part, great, go for that. If you have enough information to cover it, then do that. Now, here is that topic sentence, okay? And now I'm just going to kind of show you kind of my process of going through this scene. Well, in order for this to make a whole lot of sense, I have to explain what was coming up before that part. So I would explain who enslaved Jim, so Miss Watson. I would probably have to explain why Jim ran away and where they end up in the last 10 chapters. That whole part there in my essay might be 2 sentences. It might be 3 sentences. It might be very simply Jim was owned by a woman named Miss Watson. And when he learned that she was going to sell him and take him away from his family, he decided to run away. He meets up with Huck and they go down the river until Jim gets captured in the state of Louisiana. That's 2 sentences right there. And I just kind of summed up most of what you need to know about Jim and why he left and those kinds of things. Pretty simple. Then I would start going to the specific scene where the quote is going to be at. And I'm probably going to use the quote where Tom stands up and says, let him go because blah, blah, blah. And so I would probably talk just a little bit about how Tom is down in Louisiana and they help Jim escape, but Tom gets shot and Jim gets recaptured in order to save Tom. And then I would say Tom wakes up, and when he realizes Jim did not become free, he stands up on his bed and shouts, and then I would do the quote. Then I would go from that scene and transition it to the article that we read. And so that might just be a very simple, this is very similar to how African Americans were treated during the post-Reconstruction time period in the South, period. And then go into that one. So I transitioned from the book to the article. And that's a very easy way to do it. And then I would do all this again. I would set up whatever passage I'm using in the article again for this. Okay? So that's the importance of topic sentences, is that it helps you stay on task, it helps you stay on track, and I know, okay, I am talking about Jim becoming free, and I am talking about nothing else. I'm not talking about Tom's treatment, I'm not talking about Huck's treatment, I'm going to focus in on Jim being already free kind of a deal. So, hopefully this helped out just a little bit. Hopefully you were able to write some topic sentences. I will be working on reading your stuff all day today, and I will give you some feedback on your documents. If you need me for office hours, they'll be 10 to noon and 2 to 4. Just show up on the Google Meets, and I will have some more videos for tomorrow.